just want to put at ease, there was rumor at the cocktail party, and I was disturbed by it, that St. John's University, that this rumor would happen. St. John's University is not hiring a special prosecutor to find out how Ralph and I got this award. So, put that in case anyone was concerned. I want to thank the baseball committee. I want to thank my teammates from 66, 67, and 68 teams. I especially want to thank Anne-Marie Carey and Mary Pat Byrne for all their work at this affair and many others that we've attended. You always feel better when they're involved. And I want to recognize the outstanding job that Ed Blankmeyer has done for these last 21 years. Who said that a kid from Jersey couldn't make it in the Big Apple, right? I know I did. I was the first to say he couldn't make it. And he proved everyone wrong. He's a tremendous job that he's put this baseball organization in the position that it is every year. And I know that one of the jobs is trying to not only recruit, but also to keep your coaches so that there's continuity. And I think that it's a reflection on Ed that Mike Hampton has stayed with the program for all these years, 17 years I think Mike has been there, and congratulations. Louie's not here tonight. It has nothing to do with me, he didn't boycott the event. But I wanted to say something about Louie because he was our team, our 1960 class of 68, as Ralph said. We were the last team that Louie coached as a freshman coach. And I want to also dispel any rumor that he was interested in that job. His job, in his mind, was to limit his exposure in the baseball area during that time. I have one Louie story. There's a million Louie stories, but I have one that was a frightening for a young freshman from New Jersey playing in the infield. Louie hated anything that prolonged the game. Errors, walks, 3-2 counts, all were very upsetting to Louie. And in this one particular game, one of our star pitchers, Adam Alberico, was having trouble finding the plate. So Louie comes storming out onto the field. The entire infield comes because we wanted with him, he has some advice, something that could get us out of this funk. He slaps Adam Alberico in the face and says, if you throw another ball, you're not only off the team, but I'm going to do everything I can to throw you out of St. John. It was traumatic. I would like now to introduce to you our coaching staff from 1966, 67, and 68 teams. First, our pitching coach. Second, our batting coach. Third, our fielding coach. Fourth, our strength and conditioning coach. And finally, the person who wore those many caps, our head coach, Jack Kaiser. Our group was very fortunate to have played for Louie and to have played for Jack, because these men led by example. Talk about Christianity, and the father was up here talking about that. They went to Mass and Communion every day. And I know that because I saw them at finals when we were there. You get that? Which will come later why that did me going to Mass and Communion during finals only. They had no limitations, by the way. All you need to know about Jack Kaiser in our lives is what he meant to us after we graduated. I started out as a high school coach, and I went to him and I said, Coach, do you have anything that I can bring that, I was witness for 3 years of what you did, but is there anything? He gave me a book that he put together that was unbelievable. All the drills, all the philosophy, all the things that he embodied in those years that I had, he had in a book, and he gave it to me, and I cherished it. Then I was new to the insurance business. I was just starting out in business, and I went to him and I said, "Can you help me, meet somebody, that I can possibly talk to?" Brought me in his office and says, "Here's my Rolodex. Call him and tell him I told you to call him." That's tremendous. Eddie Lawrence was my first client. He openly said that he bought from me because he felt sorry for me. It was Coach Kaiser's caring for the student athletes then and beyond that bring most of us here every year to this dinner. The main purpose of this recognition, I've always thought, has been for the person getting this award to kind of say, what was the impact that St. John's University had on you as a student? And in particular, how the baseball program had an impact on you. Well, there are two events that I like to mention tonight that answers those questions. The first event that had the impact that I bring to you tonight, that was a main thrust in my career at St. John's, was the Sadie Hawkins dance. Now, many of you don't know what the Sadie Hawkins dance was, but I will tell you, our team made sure that it was the last Sadie Hawkins dance ever held at the school. One of the sororities on our campus, Gamma Chi, which was most of our guys weren't even allowed to meet girls from Gamma Chi, no less date them. So they always every year had a party, a dance, that the baseball team and the sorority would go and have a dance. And the idea of Sadie Hawkins is that the girl picks your name out of a hat and asks you out to this event. Well, my date for Gamma Chi picked my name out. And one of the things that you know when you're going through this is that the one thing you don't want to happen is for the date to no-show you. Because now you have to go back to the baseball team and say, you were so bad that they wouldn't even pick you up. So I had two roommates, all on the baseball team, both got picked up by their dates. I didn't. I was outside, passing by, hoping that somebody would come by and take me to the stand, just so the fact that I could know on Monday at Marillac Hall that I was going to be humiliated by my baseball team. Well, anyway, the person showed up, the Gamma Chi girl. And it was great because the baseball team put on a performance less than spectacular. So I looked pretty good because I was still shocked that the girl actually picked me up. And as a result of this, that was the last Sadie Hawkins dance ever held at St. John's. And I'd like to, right now, introduce to you that girl that picked me up and became the last person ever in a Gamma Chi situation, my wife, Maureen Palmieri. And I want you to meet tonight the fruits of that Gamma Chi Sadie Hawkins dance. If my whole family would stand up, and the people that came with us. And they're the ones that could make it tonight. There were many who couldn't. I was thinking about when I was doing this, it was a big deal in our day, St. John's baseball players. We weren't the basketball team, we weren't that. But in our own little world, any perk that we could take was genuine. I mean, we just thought it was the greatest. And one of the perks was that we could register early. I was like, I developed some cure for some disease because I told people, we can set up our schedule early because we're on the baseball team. Well, who's in the registrar office? The Gamma Chi girl. Well, at that point, had dumped me in July. So why not bring a date to the registration? I was so thrilled that this would happen and just show the Gamma Chi girl that I had not collapsed. Couldn't get a date. No one would go. But all these years later, this was the result, and it was the luckiest and greatest thing that happened to me at St. John's. The second thing that happened to me at St. John's that I live with today is Omaha. There were 78 years of St. John's baseball. 6 teams made it to the College World Series. I was on 2 of them. That was tremendous. And what was so unbelievable about Omaha? No parents. Not one parent made it to Omaha. And if you looked at the history of our team at the games, you weren't shocked at the fact that no one would make it on the plane. Say, for me, I'm from New Jersey. I'm from my blue-collar family, who my father thought anything east of the George Washington Bridge was the Bahamas. So there was no shot he was getting on the plane. He couldn't get on the BQE. You know? This was the first flight that, of the 25 guys that were honored to go to Omaha, 23 of them never on an airplane. We were in panic when the air conditioning units went on, and we had a guy in the back, Jimmy Hill. He asked us all to turn the air conditioner off because it's going to affect the power of the thrust to get off the ground. This is what you're dealing with in 1968. Now we get to Omaha, and the plane lands, and we are just, we are in shock that we're in Omaha. That we're out of Queens was a shock. We get there, and there we are coming down the steps. You know, in those days you got down steps. You didn't go through the airport. You went down steps. We were like Air Force One coming down. Bob Hirschfield waving like he's somebody. Bobby, we didn't even know you're on the team. He's waving, and the hostesses are gathering around Lyons and Hirschfield and Barbite, and these people hadn't registered 3 or 4 innings the entire time. And there they are. Wally Gross, I'll never forget, in the convertibles that were lined up in the Omaha airport, taking us, and there's Wally sitting back like he's in Dallas at the JFK. I mean, he is unbelievable. This is what we're dealing with. Convertibles, we're so shocked to see a convertible. Hostesses, Blackstone Hotel, there it was, welcome, St. John's University, and Brigham Young. We traveled on a Sunday. Brigham Young could not travel on Sunday. They got there on Monday, lost, played again that night, lost. We didn't have a chance to say hello, and they were out of the airport. Little kids asking us for autographs. You know what kind of thrill that is? I know today it probably happens all the time. We're from New York. They wanted our autographs. I even got a couple autographs from a couple of our guys. I was so thrilled. There was news coverage. You know, we were the sons of parents that couldn't imagine their kids playing at a college level, playing ball. These are parents who made sure we got into the leagues when we were young and made sure we made good on showing up to games and got accepted to St. John's. Probably the first time any of their kids went to college, no less play, and wear a St. John's uniform. I mean, how great that must have been for our parents. They didn't go to college, but they made sure we did. And so that was a tremendous, and one bonus of the whole thing is that we missed graduation. Bobby Kennedy was assassinated the week that we were supposed to go to Omaha, and that set back the College World Series postponed their dates and made it the following week. So that was the week of graduation, and we missed it. But it was also because during that time off, we had one of our pitchers had some kind of brain freeze and got involved in something that put us in a suspension situation where we lost one of our top pitchers. So the Bobby Kennedy assassination, which you say, well, how does that affect your life? It affected ours. I want to tell you about being in the College World Series. We won our first game. We won our second game. We were beating Southern Cal 6-2. We're on the verge of possibly being the national champions. And a 2.5-hour thunderstorm hits Omaha, where our pitching, which is now depleted, we had to go deeper into the bullpen, and it's 7-6. And it's 2 outs, man on first, And Southern Cal brings in Bill Lee. If anybody ever knows about baseball in those years, Bill Lee became a famous pitcher for the Red Sox. And he's pitching, and I'm up. And I remember it because 50 years later, I still have nightmares over the fact that I hit the hardest ball I hit in the 4 years that I was at St. John's, and some guy in center field slid and made the catch. And it's in my head for 50 years. And I know when I leave this earth and I go wherever it is to get into heaven, I'm going to say, you couldn't let it drop. Southern Cal won 6 world championships. What about the guy that went to Mass and Communion every day? Couldn't we win it for him? Forget me. No. He caught it. He could have dropped it. I could have been somebody and would have waited 50 years for this award. That's where God got me, because I only went to church during the finals. For anybody who wore a uniform, baseball, basketball, particularly St. John's, particularly my classmates, in the words of Carole King, we had a moment, just one moment, that will last beyond a dream, beyond a lifetime. We are the lucky ones. Some people never get to do all we got to do. Now and forever, I will always think of you. And to you, Jack Kaiser, I'll always be grateful. Thank you very much.